Let's take our seats and get started on our meeting this morning. This is the regular monthly board workshop where we have an opportunity to hear from the various committees, and we'll go ahead and get started with those reports to the board. I believe we'll start with the ACC. Mr. Miller, could you give us a report?
Yes, sir. We had a regular scheduled meeting. Had one house. It's a nice house on 8800 Sundance Place. Had a covered patio, concrete pad, screened patio, and I think the others were just wrought iron fences. The building activity has slowed down a little bit, but we're still running about 2 houses a month, which a few years ago that would have been fantastic. Maybe when spring gets here and everybody gets ready to go, this will pick back up. But I think I think Brent told me there were 27 or 28 houses under construction, or maybe more than that. But we're still growing, have ever since I've been here, and that's a good thing. Thank you.
All right, sir. Thank you, Mr. Miller. Any questions for Mr. Miller on the ACC?
Yeah, why'd you start with me instead of Bob?
You're an A, I'm a B.
Oh. Keep it simple.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
All right, sir. Mr. Meyer, would you report on the Bylaws Committee?
I will.
Thank you.
The Bylaws Committee met at its regular time in December the 13th. We had a quorum present. First item, we had 2 guests, Board Member Beverly Franson and General Manager Michael Bartholomew. First item on the agenda that was taken care of, the minutes of the November meeting were accepted as approved by email vote. It was brought to the attention of the committee that changes in Chapter 209 of the Texas Property Code enacted by the legislature in 2015 may require changes to PPOA's governing documents. These changes were the result of passage of Senate Bill 1168 that amended several provisions of Chapter 82, which governs condominium associations, in addition to the chapter.
Your heart monitor Somebody turn off the drums. Or at least beat them symmetrically or rhythmically. You don't want to hear this? Whoever that was? That's fine with me. Anyhow, after discussing the extensive changes and their the committee decided to request a review by PPOA's legal counsel and seek its recommendation for whether or how any governing documents need to be changed. General Manager will solicit such a review and report its conclusions back to the committee. There are 23 separate items in Senate Bill 1168 that could affect our governing documents, and there are an additional 9 in several House bills that could affect them, for a total of 32 enacted by the Texas legislature.
that is going to require extensive amount of time because you have to find a reference point from the law back to our governing documents to determine whether there's any changes or not in the governing documents. Fortunately or unfortunately, take your pick, at the end of the 7 pages of changes was something put in there by Gregory Cagle, and I do not know who that is. He said, this 2015 Texas HOA legislation update summary provides brief descriptions of the most significant changes in HOA law passed by the 2015 Texas legislature. However, such brief descriptions are neither comprehensive nor exhaustive of all changes in the laws that apply directly or indirectly to Texas Homeowners Association. As such, this summary should be used for general information purposes only and may not be construed as a legal opinion or legal advice. Well, I just made the decision, and the committee agreed with it, that we're not going to take on 32 law changes and spend the time and effort that would be involved until our lawyers say we really ought to do that. The board can certainly change that if they wish. I've got a copy. In fact, I've given a copy to Doug a couple of weeks ago. Anyhow, that's the first item on the board's agenda, on the bylaws committee agenda. Next item, DCR BL 16-11-001 proposes a rewording of bylaws section Article 6, Section 5 to permit simplification of the current procedure for PPOA member voting in the annual election. It was approved by this board at its December meeting. The proposed change will require a 66 2/3 membership vote to approve the change to Section 5 and will be placed on the election ballot for the March 2017 annual meeting. Excuse me. What this change does, it reduces the number of envelopes involved that are sent to members for the voting in the voting process from 2 to 1. And that's all the change it does. The nominating committee has proposed defining the responsibilities of that committee in much greater detail and expanding its tenure to cover the entire committee year. The Bylaws and Governance Committee members believe that these changes do not require a change to PPOA Bylaws Article 6, Section 7, since none of the changes affect the function of the appointment or appointment conditions of the nominating committee as defined in that section. The proposed changes are intended to make the nominating committee more effective in achieving its designated goal and identifying board candidates, and to assist the board in assuring that all interested parties will have the opportunity to place their names on the annual meeting ballot for the election to replace 3 members whose board terms has expired. That was brought to us by the chairman of the nominating committee, board member Franson. The meeting was adjourned at 3:50 p.m. That concludes our report.
Thank you, Mr. Maurer. Any questions for Mr. Maurer?
Mr. President, just a comment, and this is really directed to the board. I'll be presenting it at our next work session, the nominating committee resolution for your input and review. I took it first to bylaw to make sure that there wasn't anything that was going to have to be done to bylaws in order for us to move forward with a resolution. Because if we did, we're going to have to work quickly to get it on the ballot. So thank you, Mr. Maurer, for clarifying that we won't have to do anything to the bylaws.
I didn't clarify it. Tom, our secretary, clarified it in the minutes. And, we're going to be losing Tom. He's moving from God's country to somebody else's country. I don't know. Where are you going, Tom? Cuba? Going down there to the hurricane country. From God's country to hurricane country. We're going to miss Tom. He's done a wonderful job for the Bylaws Committee and for the Finance Committee and any other committee he's ever been on. Thank you so much, Tom.
Thank you very much, Bob. I appreciate that.
One other question or comment to Mr. Maurer. You mentioned something about the time for legal review as to the impact of those law changes. I believe I remember that our law firm normally reviews any changes in the law and its potential impact on their clients. And I don't know that we get a formal notification of that, but I believe that's in the process.
Doug, I really don't know. I'm not privy to what the legal firm considers their normal duty and their special duty. But you're right. They did a review, a complete review of our entire governing documents, policy, rules, regulations, committee resolutions, articles of incorporation, bylaws, etc. I believe that was in 2012, Michael. I'm not sure.
I believe that's correct, yes.
There was a change in the Texas laws at that time, and our legal counsel reviewed those changes and proposed to us changes in the bylaws. Those changes were sent to the membership for an election, and I believe they passed. Over 80% voted yes, we will make the changes. And in essence, they were saying, yes, we will change our governing documents to comply with the laws of the state of Texas. So that review was done. Whether this change by the legislature has been looked at by our legal counsel, I have no idea. That's why we just felt like 32 changes is just too dadgum much work. I mean, that's a 2 or 3 year job. There's 7 pages of changes, and our governing documents have about 50 or 60 pages. And you got to go through each one to see if there's anything in our governing documents that needs to be changed. Well, this guy says that's just general information. It's not legal advice. Well, I just felt like, I know it costs money to ask a lawyer anything, but I just felt like the governing documents, I'm going to call them sacred. Just like our Constitution of the United States, to me, is sacred. And we ought not be changing them without being on firm ground. And I didn't feel like I was on firm ground to even understand all of these changes. Be happy to defer that decision to the board, since it is going to be money being spent to ask the lawyers to do anything. Be happy for the board to overrule the committee's decision. No problem. I'm just not ready to jump on that task. That's why we said, let's ask the lawyer, Doug.
I understand, and I agree with you.
Okay.
But I was just saying that from memory, I think that the attorneys do look at, as
Well,
those,
they did in 2012.
yeah, okay.
But in 2012, the attorneys were members of a group that opposed the legislative change that was made by the legislature. They were part of I don't know what they call it in Austin, part of a lobbying effort not to change all those rules, change the Texas law. But they failed in that. But they certainly became very familiar with what the Texas law was going to be, because they were standing there saying, don't do this, don't do this. I assume the attorneys read what was going to be done. So they were familiar with at least the Texas law side of it, and they had previously reviewed all of our governing documents. I don't know when, 2010, maybe 2011, somewhere back there.
Okay.
They reviewed every one of them, all 50 or 60 pages, and we got those changes in there. There were very few changes that were required at that time. But there were, I don't remember how many changes there was on that ballot in 2012, 13, maybe 13 or 14 changes, something like that.
I think there were 12, yeah.
Yeah, 12 changes. So that's really why I backed off from getting into this one. But again, like I said, this committee serves at the pleasure of the board. And if the board wants to change something, jump on it. Make a decision.
We appreciate your advice and counsel, Bob.
Thank you.
All right. Any other questions or comments? Let's move on. Thank you, Mr. Maurer. Let's move on to the Finance Committee. Mr. Bizone,
Yeah, thank you, Mr. President. The Finance Committee met yesterday at its regularly scheduled time and reviewed 5 authorizations for capital expenditure. The first one we reviewed was ACE 17-10-05, excuse me, for replacement of the Marina Fryer, and that was presented by John Rogers, manager down at the Marina. The current fryer is well beyond its serviceable life, and the replacement is being purchased now to avoid downtime if the old one fails. The committee unanimously approved this ACE for presentation to the board in the amount of $4,825, which is under budget, with provision for a 10% overage to cover unexpected expenses associated with the changeover. And even with a 10% overage, it would still be under budget. So I'll let John make any comments, or you can ask John any questions about this. Or, no? He's here.
John, go ahead, John. Why don't you go ahead and give us an overview? If you can grab a microphone.
This on?
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah, like you said, we came under budget. We went with our lowest bid that we had, and we're getting a fairly nice Pitco fryer. It's the same fryer that we use here at the clubhouse pretty much, just a little few things different, but we're really looking forward to getting this fryer in. And if anybody has any questions, I'm feel free to answer.
And what sort of food products do you plan on adding?
We still plan on running the older fryer just for as long as we can, and we think about changing the menu and adding in fried fish like catfish and stuff like that. I know that's been a large cry from a lot of the membership here to bring at the clubhouse, and I think having a fried fish product at the marina just makes sense, really. So,
Any other questions for John?
I'll make a comment. You've added back in French fries within the last few months, and I think that's been a popular addition to the sandwiches for the community. And I think the replacement of fryers well timely.
Yeah, I've got a question.
Go ahead.
You're going to keep the old fryer and install the new fryer, so you're going to run 2 fryers all the time, or what's your plan?
yes, being that we'd have a separate second fryer, we'd be able to do fish. So instead of just doing fish in one fryer, where it'd make your French fries taste like fish and all that, it just kind of blues the oil because fish can be oily. So we'd be able to run fish as long as we have a second fryer. So we're just going to try to whip this one along, hopefully till remodel and all that stuff, with budget and another fryer.
You don't currently offer fish right now?
No, we do not, and that's the main reason why we don't.
Okay. Do you, well, all right, thanks.
Okay.
Any other questions for John? Thank you, John, appreciate it.
Okay, moving on. The next four ACEs all involve the golf course, and all were presented by Bobby White. I'll read them off one at a time and let Bobby answer any questions. The first one was ACE 17-10-01 for the replacement of our golf cart fleet of 24 vehicles, plus one for the course superintendent. The total purchase price is $72,984, which includes $43,000 in trade-in allowance on the old carts. This ACE was unanimously approved for presentation to the board in the amount not to exceed $72,984. Bobby, you want to make some comments?
Yes, we started out looking at whether to keep our vehicles one more year or not. We found when we replaced the batteries in our club cars, the return on investment didn't come back, so we only got $1,000 per car. E-Z-Go was low bid with their TXT model. We also looked at their RXV model is the one we're trying to purchase. It's a safer cart, it has an automatic brake system, so when you're on the slopes and the hills, the parking brake is automatic. There's no locking of a brake. The other thing is that golf cart, the RXV, has an AC motor versus a DC motor, so we have about $1,000 savings in electricity during the life of us having them. Okay. The other thing, the RXV has about a $200 to $250 better trade-in value than their TXT model, which is actually even better, $200, $400 better than the Yamaha model. Okay, so when we go to trade them in the next time, we'll get $4,800 better in return on our investment as of the TXT model, and about $9,600 better than the Yamaha. Okay, so E-Z-Go was low bid. Club car was high bid. Club car only gave us $1,000 a cart for trade-in value. The other two were around $1,600 for Yamaha and $1,650 for the E-Z-Go trade-in for our Yamaha fleet. And then they also gave us $2,000 for our, they call them PTVs, which is a personal vehicle. It's one with the headlights and the tail lights, and they'll do 19.5 that we also use for security and night patrol. We are going to replace the fleet with the RXV, hopefully. There will be 4 carts that are not PTV, but they will have headlights and taillights for night patrol and our street dances and things of that nature. So we only do 4 carts that way. And then Michael's cart is more expensive. It's got a bigger motor. It will do 19.5 because he has to travel so far across the property from the driving range back to the golf course. And so it's the reason why it is more expensive than the fleet. The fleet will only do 14.5 miles an hour at max speed. We don't need to go any faster than that for our rental fleet. I mean, the old statute used to be 11, and we'll let them go 14.5. Alcohol and 14.5 is enough. We don't need to go 19.5. Okay, just to put it honestly. But if there's any other questions about the golf carts, please let me have it.
Bobby, how often do we turn these things over?
Every 5 years.
Okay, thanks.
Yes, sir.
Is that every 5 years, you said, Bobby?
Yes, sir.
And that you put that into our asset system as expected life?
Yes, sir.
And we purchase the carts as opposed to lease?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Bobby, is there a way to measure the use in terms
Yes,
of
sir.
miles?
Yeah, there's unit hours. So in the bumper-to-bumper warranty on the batteries, it's 25,000 and some odd hours. 25,200 I think is what it is. Unit hours that you're warranted under. We're closer to 16,000 unit hours in our 5 years. So no, our golf carts are not used as heavy as a public facility. Okay. You know, our units don't go out as often as they do. You know, public facility, they go out every day, where ours do not.
Has the expected life cycle of the golf carts increased or decreased over, the last 5 or 6 years?
It's still flat. I mean, your better facilities trade their cart. I mean, your high-end facilities trade their carts every year. Most public facilities trade them every 3 years. We go 5 because we're not used heavy enough we have to bring in enough revenue to cover their cost.
Okay, thank you.
I have one. Well, go ahead, John.
You said these are going to be AC electric as opposed to the standard DC, and you say the AC electric over the time period will save us charging hours?
Correct.
Yeah.
Electricity usage.
One more question. The depreciation schedule on this, was it 5 years? Is it 3? Is it 5? Okay, thanks.
Any other questions for Bobby on the golf carts? Okay, Mr. Pizzone?
I always like to point out that the golf cart fleet much more than pays for itself in the revenue it generates from rentals. It's a fact that goes unnoticed quite frequently. The next ACE, which is ACE 17-10-03 for replacement of the superintendent's utility cart, which was purchased in 2007, and it's pretty much at the end of its life. This ACE was approved in the amount not to exceed $9,317, which includes a $1,500 trade-in allowance. The ACE was unanimously approved for presentation to the board in the amount not to exceed $9,318. Bobby?
Yes, this is an 07 Gator that we use for the golf course crew for golf course setup. It is beyond its life expectancy. The bed of it's rusted out. I don't know how in the world they gave us $1,500, but they did. Like I said, it's an 07. It's time for it to go, and we need to replace it with a new Cushman.
Any questions for Bobby?
All right, sir, Mr. Pizzone, you want to proceed?
Okay, the next ACE we considered was ACE 17-10-02 for replacement of the cart path on hole number 7 and movement of the cart path closer to the new trees and rerouting of the cart path on hole 9 around the oak trees. This is a continuation of an ongoing project to replace all the asphalt cart path and make alterations consistent with our course needs. The ACE was unanimously approved in the amount of $7,704 with a 10% contingency for unexpected conditions. Bobby?
Okay, we moved the tee boxes on number 7 according to master plan, and now we still have an asphalt strip that we didn't switch over to concrete prior because we knew the tees were going to move. When we move the tees, we now need to move the cart path closer to the tees. We'll also move the watering fountain that's there on 7 tee box closer to the tee box where it sits today. This is one piece of asphalt that's still on property. We don't have much left, but we still have some. The other piece is number 9, right by the green, about 50 yards on the right side. The oak tree, the limbs are really starting to weigh down. It's a very old oak tree. We've done one patch in addition of about 3 foot for the cart path to go around the tree. It's a very old oak tree. So we're going to move it further out to make sure it's safe, because right now you could actually catch your roof on the limb of the tree, and the limb's probably 36 inches. I mean, it's a big portion of the tree, and we didn't want to damage the tree.
Any questions at all? Comments? All right, sir. Thank you. Mr. Pizzone?
Okay, finally, the last ACE we considered was ACE 17-10-04 to repair the leak in the lake dam on hole number 9. This leak prevents the lake, which holds our irrigation water, from being filled, and that interferes with coarse irrigation. The repair will allow us to maximize irrigation water storage. The ACE was unanimously approved in the amount of $19,756 plus a 10% contingency for unexpected conditions. Bobby?
Okay, we've had issues with our irrigation pond in the past, and we've done a clay plug, I would say, on the northwest side or the fairway side of the pond. It's all a shell formation, and so with the clay plug, we stopped a leak there. Now we have a new leak, and we want to go ahead and continue the clay plug all the way on the west side back to the tee box, all the way around to the men's tee box on the back, to ensure that we can maintain and hold our water. Right now, the water is seeping out of it very rapidly. We need to get that fixed quickly before season begins again. We've lost a couple foot of storage in that pond. That pond's very small as it is. It fluctuates between 3 and 4 feet in the summer as we water. So if we can get 2 more foot of storage, that would be excellent. So it needs to be fixed before it fails.
Mr. President, I have a question here.
Yes, sir.
Bobby, I noticed here on the bids that the Fleetwood service is significantly lower than the others by, almost double. Have we had Fleetwood do work for us before?
I can't answer if Fleetwood's done things for us before. I believe so. They're going to continue the same plug as before with the other company, but I cannot answer
My
the
only
Fleetwood
question would be here, are they qualified to do this job? I mean, there's a big difference here in the
it's huge.
in the bids.
Yeah, they can do the job. I mean, we're not concerned with them not
I'm
accomplishing.
sure the Finance Committee probably saw that as well.
Yes, that's correct.
Thank you. Okay.
talked
You're satisfied with?
Yes, we are.
Thank you.
Yeah, part of that process is looking at references, and I suppose you did that.
Yeah, it looked like one estimate was going to put in a plastic liner.
That is correct. We've done liners, we've done clay plugs. I think I told Finance they were putting a liner in it, but I had to review it again. I don't believe they are. They think the clay will do it. That's what's existing now, and it stopped the west wall with no problem. So hopefully the same clay plug will do it. But knowing Michael, and knowing well enough that if that's not going to, if they get in there and they find a bigger problem, he'll stop the project right then and come back to y'all.
Ultimately, the plan is, when we talked about this yesterday, when the irrigation project is performed, this will be addressed again, possibly to replace the whole pond, because this holds our irrigation water. It's very, very important to us. So that's the ultimate plan. This is sort of a fix until that happens.
Bobby, you got a leak, water going downstream.
Yes, sir.
Is that impacting any homeowners at this point?
No, due to that ravine that we have that runs behind one and goes right down into the Brazos, so no, it does not affect any homes at this point. If anything, they get to hear the nice trickle of water all the time.
So there's no guarantee on this fix then?
No,
I
sir.
heard you right, if this doesn't work, you'll come back and ask for more money and we'll do it over again?
The problem is, if we get in there and it's a lot worse than we think, we need to come right back to you immediately, okay? Because when you...
Prior to expending the...
Correct.
$20,000 that...
Sure. Well, they'll start digging, find out where we're at, because that dam wall, that's the only passway from 9 T-box to 9 fairway. So if that dam were to fail, we're going to have to replace that dam no matter what, because we have no way to cross. Okay, so yeah, it's an important dam that we need to make sure we get plugged up and done. But like I said, if we find a 12-inch hole or a 14-inch hole, we're going to have to come back to you and say, okay, this is not going to get it done. We need to stop, reassess, and accomplish.
And so the next question I have is, you're talking about redoing this dam, what's the plans on that? What's the status of that?
Well, this clay plug will seal the dam. That's the concern right now. But like you said, anytime you open anything up, you don't know what's underneath it.
So, but repairing it, I mean, this is just a patch job, and eventually when we do the irrigation, we're going to do the dam over again anyway, is what you're saying, or?
No, we will address where we will get our water from. If we want to move to number 10, if we want to move to Lake Granbury, if we want to stay in the existing pond. Okay, so that'll all be addressed in 2021-22 time frame, when the irrigation system is supposed to go in at that point.
Yeah, my understanding was that this irrigation pond is inadequate, period. Right? If we had our druthers, it would be bigger. Is that not
yes,
true?
we need a larger storage facility for our water.
Any other questions? All right, sir, Mr. Bizzone, you guys have another one?
Yes, no, there are no further ACEs. That was the final one. I'll just mention that all of the AFEs, excuse me, I can't get rid of that, ACEs that we talked about this morning came in under budget. Okay, that's it on the ACEs. Last month, I reported preliminary figures for the close of 2016 fiscal year. The final figures are now in, and for the year, revenues exceeded expenses by $72,225 versus a budget of just $1,619 for a positive variance to budget of $70,606. As I pointed out last month, food and beverage revenues came in at a record $1,390,591. That's the final number. The capital reserve and replacement fund balance, this is all still for 2016, the capital reserve and replacement fund balance finished at $1,798,721, and the road and drainage fund balance finished at $774,286. Moving on to the first month of this fiscal year, for November. The first month of the year, revenues exceeded expenses by $4,428 versus a budget of $7,486 for a negative variance to budget of $3,058. The current year fiscal end projection for fiscal year 2017 now stands at a net income of $2,912, and that changes as we go through the year. And that completes my report.
All right, sir, thank you very much, Mr. Bizzone. And our thanks to you as well for the work that you've done, not only on bylaws, but on the Finance Committee. It's very much appreciated, and we'll miss that. But we wish you the best.
Okay, I'll be around for a while, though.
Okay.
Mr. President, I'd like to add the on that.
Thank you. Anything else on finance? Okay.
Sorry, that's it.
Let me just ask a couple of other committees. Mr. Jakely, have you had any meetings or anything on the LINMO committee?
Nothing from my phone.
All right, sir. Thank you. And Mr. Kreis, long-range planning?
Yes, sir. We met at our regularly scheduled time on December 12th. Our work on this committee is continuing with the development and the revising of some of the current processes for identifying projects, as well as developing some new processes and merging those into a document with flow charts and everything, so that we can identify and track proposed projects, short-range capital projects, as well as identify and have a look ahead in the 10-year vision for probable projects coming on stream. This work has involved the development of a comprehensive database that will offer us a lot of capabilities for including the ability to view current progress during the development phases of projects, generating reports with selective data, and also in communicating the project status to the board of directors as well as membership in general. We're also working on trying to differentiate between replacement and new projects so that we can advise the board of directors as they make decisions on how to use our capital reserve fund for funding these projects. But that concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. Kreis. Any questions for Mr. Kreis? One quick question, Mr. Kreis. The work that you mentioned, the 10-year look forward for potential projects and the shorter term for projects that we know are going to be coming up.
Yeah.
Is this an addition to what has been done in the past to get a projection on whether or not our capital asset fund is going to be adequate to cover us in the next 5 to 10 years?
Well, I think it's a refinement to that process. I think we're just to do it more efficiently and a better job in doing that. So,
okay.
Yes, Dan, you mentioned that you're working on developing a better clarification of what is a current versus what is a new asset. And included in that would be the need or the requirement or not a requirement to go to the membership for a vote on then the expenditure of money.
Yes, yeah.
And are you considering a bright line number as well as, for example, the physical location of an asset or amenity? If an asset is deemed to be a current asset and then it's moved, will that be included in your recommendations for?
To answer your question, we're wrestling with that.
I know
that's a hard
confounding problem, but it seems to keep coming up, and I know we have several projects that is going to test that question and be helpful if we got a good definition from you.
Yeah, we're in the process of trying to define these things, and we've had a couple of iterations of it, and we just haven't reached concurrence yet. But what we're saying is the final definitions, but we are working on that.
Thank you, Mr. Cross.
Because we do realize that's an important distinction between those things.
Thank you very much. Appreciate the work that you're doing on that long-term planning committee.
I might add that we've got a good committee. I think we've got people that are making substantial contributions, and there's a lot of energy in that committee, and I think I'd like to commend all our committee members for their work.
Very good. Any other questions, comments? Let's just briefly ask Ms. Franson if there's any news on the nominating committee that needs to be reported.
As of right now, we have 5 people that have turned in their questionnaires, so we're still hoping for one more. Did you want to know who they are, or do you want to?
Let's just wait, and,
okay. All right.
and we'll announce it next time.
Yeah, I'll give you a final list.
Okay,
Thank
good.
you.
Thank you very much.
So, quick question. We had six, 2 of them, I understand, were dropped out, but now we have one more volunteer?
Yes.
Okay,
Well,
thanks.
So we have 5.
5, okay.
And hopefully one more.
All right, thank you, Ms. Franson. Any update on the election committee, Mr. Green?
No, sir. We're still short members. We have about 22 volunteers. I'm still working on trying to solicit a few more people who will volunteer. I encourage anybody that wants to help out, please let me know or let Mary know. We'll get your name on the list. We'll run it by and get the board to approve it. But we're definitely looking for more volunteers.
Do we currently have a sign-up sheet at the front desk?
No, we don't.
Okay. Do we anticipate doing that?
Well, we had one at the front desk, but nobody knew it was there. Nobody was signing up. It's easier just to let me know or let Mary know or just let the front desk know, and we'll get them to the right place and we'll get them on the list.
All right, sir. That's good. Yeah, you probably need a couple more.
Yes, sir.
All right, sir. Thank you very much. I believe that concludes the reports from those committees that report to the board, and I'll turn the mic over to Mr. Barr.
Thank you, Mr. President. As far as infrastructure, we don't have a representative here, but just to give everybody an update, the flight for the LiDAR system has been flown, and so now that data will be taken back to our provider for analysis and the final finished product to be delivered to us. And that was the markings you may have noticed, the little triangular markings on the roads. That was their reference points, but the process has started. As far as wildlife, we had 51 total so far this year, and we'll not be doing any trapping over the holiday season, and we'll have more reports on that after the first of the year. For Grounds Committee, Chris Wilmoth is going to give us a report. Chris?
Okay, thank you. I'm here for Roger Merrill. He's our chairman of the Grounds Committee. He wanted me to let you know, and we have completed the painting of the fire plugs. We have sought out trying to find fire plugs that were in pretty bad shape and have painted those. In October, we had a pickup con. That's our community trash pickup day. And we always have enthusiastic people, but we have low numbers of enthusiastic people. So we get a little disappointed with the numbers, but we are committed to keep that up and make people aware of the trash around Pecan and just keep them aware so that they'll do that. So we will continue doing a spring and fall pickup Pecan. Another project that we are working on and hopefully will be completed in 2017 is the West Circle project, the back gate circle. And the Garden Club is actively working on a plan for that. It will be a simpler plan than the front gate. It will include an iron structure and native plants and things that will not require a lot of maintenance. But I think it will make the back gate look nicer when you drive in. Just a very low maintenance type thing. We continue to look for areas of concern, so if anyone has anything, you need to bring it to the committee, myself or Roger or anyone on the committee, and we will identify new projects in the new year. And our next meeting will be January 10th, so that's all I have for that. Thank you.
A quick question.
Okay.
Are we building a $15,000 gazebo in the back circle?
You're going to have to talk to Roger about that. I am not sure of the cost. They are going to do, and right now the plan is to do an iron structure that would require very little maintenance. I don't want to say gazebo because it's not a gazebo. It will be more of a thing for plants or trellis type thing. Our main focus is to be a low maintenance issue, and funds have already been designated towards that, haven't they, Michael?
Yes, they have, in the budget, yes.
Yes.
Any other questions for Ms. Wilmoth? Thank you very much. Ty Harper, Safety and Security.
Safety and Security met at its regular scheduled time, December 14th. We had 3 disputes, all members, all for speeding, and they were all upheld. Security wrote 40 citations in the month of November. Some of the old business that we discussed, one of the things that we've been working on for quite a while is the speed limit issue in Pecan. And one of the things that we've been working on is to try and determine what the speed limit should actually be. So the committee has come up with a proposal for a traffic study not to exceed $10,000, and they would like to seek approval from the board to move forward with that. More than the speed limits, though, we'd like to stress the importance of safe driving practices. Regardless of what the speed limit is that's posted, you need to drive safely, and almost every time if you slow down, that's going to solve almost every problem that you have. As well as the golf cart safety, that's kind of been a topic of importance, and we'd like to seek assistance from parents and make sure that they help us out. You have to have a driver's license to drive a golf cart in Pecan, and we still see underage kids driving golf carts, and that's just not a safe situation when they're out there on the roads with cars. One of the things that we have done, the Safety and Security Committee requested that we make a three-way stop at the intersection of Monticello, Ravenswood, and Bell Chase. And I don't know if you've noticed, but it's there. So just a heads up, you need to be stopping there. And hopefully by stopping, instead of yield, people coming to a complete stop, it's going to pace the traffic, come to a complete stop, and hopefully that'll make it a safer intersection. We've had some incidents and some complaints about that stop sign, that area.
Ty, if I live quite near there, and so I'm there a lot. Notwithstanding the signs are there, people are still just laughing through that intersection.
That's so true. I went by twice and made my stop and looked over, and here comes a car. Didn't even slow down, went right through and made a turn. So I don't know. I think people here are used to rolling through stop signs, and we're not very, we probably not emphasize that enough in making us stop.
We've put a notice on the marquees to try and get the word out, and we've run some stationery there to try and get people to, normally if they see a patrol car, it'll make them pay more attention. And we're doing everything we can to get the word out, but once we get that out there, I think we'll create a safer intersection.
Have you considered a cardboard cutout of a patrol car? Maybe just post it?
Maybe a blow up. Yeah.
Ty, when we see underage drivers, are you stopping them?
If we see them, we do. If y'all see them, give us a call and we'll try to catch them. But a lot of times, by the time we get there, they're already wherever they were going. But if we see them, we absolutely pull them over and we write a citation. But and we see it mostly in the summertime when the parents want them to go to the pool or the pack or whatever and don't want to get out themselves. So we need help from parents in that area.
I have a question about the traffic study that you just mentioned. What kind of study is the committee going to be asking?
Ron Liddell's been spearheading that for us, and he can probably answer the questions better than I can, but I can tell you it's a professional company that does this on a larger scale, and we want to really get the streets that we want them to study nailed down for sure, and that's why we said $10,000 and under. We have 4 streets for sure, and we'd like to add a couple more, and we think we can get it for under $10,000. But I have all the details of the company and their background.
Give me a high level. What are they going to study? Are they going to be putting out?
They use equipment to study. They'll actually be driving around and observing the traffic and just kind of see what the community is and who lives here and what kind of traffic, how it behaves.
So are they talking about volume then, or?
Volume, areas of traffic, what it should be. That's what they do for a living.
So traffic density is what they call that.
Also use traffic strips to record the weight of the vehicle and the speed.
And probably the number of vehicles per hour.
Correct, yeah, correct. Anything else on the traffic study before time moves on? Mr. Harper?
That concludes my report.
Okay. Mr. Lewis, Airport Committee?
As we discussed at previous board meetings, there was a lot of discussion about a possible building by the EAA to have a meeting site. They continue to develop their options and look at other options, and they have not settled yet on a plan that they wanted to present to the airport committee. As of right now, we have numerous other are some real good options that might not require a building being explored. The airport committee did not meet this month due to both the fact that we did not have a proposal to evaluate and some travel schedules and conflicts, so there was no meeting on the normal date of the 14th.
Any comments, questions for Mr. Lewis? Let's move on to Brenda Palmer, Sports and Rec and Entertainment Committee.
Hello, everyone. Merry Christmas, by the way. Sports and Rec, archery air gun. They had their annual Don't Shoot Your Eye Out BB gun tournament this last weekend. Huge success. We had 23 children between the ages of 7 to 13 and 6 adult shooters. Everyone had a great time. Winners will be posted in the January columns. But we did give out 5 BB guns, the Red Ryder BB guns, and 1 leg lamp to the adults. So that was fun. Okay, the annual William Tell Archery Tournament is scheduled for Saturday, January the 21st, 2017, and this tournament is too for all ages, and check your January columns for details. There seems to be a continuing problem at the archery airgun range with unlawful firearms being shot at the range. When I say unlawful, I mean the real thing. Steps are being taken to remedy the situation. We're going to try with education and signage first, but we might have to take it a step further if it continues. But I did want y'all to be aware that the issue has continued to this point. Dog park. Free ID tags for your pets has been resurrected. Eric and Jimmy De La Garza will be making new tags free to all. Time to renew memberships. And lucky for everyone, you can now use your PPOA account to pay for your membership. FOPP's Holiday in the Park gathering Saturday, December 10th was a huge success. It was very cold that day, yet so many people and their pets and their children showed up. Thank you, Santa and Mrs. Claus, for a wonderful party. Pickleball. There are now, as I've reported before, 3 courts available at the PAC gym and the outside court at the tennis center, and they are being used. Membership continues to grow, and if you're interested, just show up at the PAC on Monday mornings at 9 o'clock, and there will always be someone there to show you the ropes. Tennis. Seems like the tennis center snowman is about the only person playing tennis lately. Now the weather is warming up. You better take the opportunity while it lasts. January 27th will be the Australian Open Mixer, weather permitting. Senior softball. There are so many die-hard members that haven't given up the ship yet, and they're still playing when they can get a group together, practicing and playing and enjoying each other's company. Campgrounds. Roads at Shady Campground continue to be a concern. Working with Daniel Van Patten for the best fix. And I'm sure we will come up with one. Thank you. Jimmy De La Garza is looking into the possibility for a phone booster at the campgrounds. Those of you that have ever been down there know you get no cell phone coverage down there. That's why we put in the emergency phone. But he feels like there is a fix, and he is looking into setting it up for us. I'm sure he'll get with you on that. We look forward to hearing more about it next month. On the proposed Activity and Wellness Center, the second town hall meeting is scheduled for Tuesday, January the 24th at the PAC. Please join us for a detailed presentation on this proposed center and bring your questions. The website is up and running, www.pecanawc.org. Check it out for the most frequently asked questions, and brochures are available at the PAC, Tennis Center, and the clubhouse. Okay, now to the PAC. Selfies with Santa was a huge success. Thank you, Mr. and Mrs. Claus. Everyone who attended was very excited. I saw nothing but good reports on Nextdoor. And you know, that's an oddity in itself, so thank you very much. Just a reminder that our children are now out of school and will be scurrying all around Pecan, so please watch out for them. School resumes January the 4th, so it's not that far off. Healthy cooking classes are scheduled through February 2017. Classes are limited to 10 people, so check the schedule and sign up. This has turned out to be one of the most popular adult classes taught at the PAC. So if you're interested in learning anything about that, just check at the PAC and they can give you more information. But here you go. You know me, always something exciting. A new class will be starting at the PAC. Adult tap dancing. Are you ready? Yeah, it's true. Yep, that's right. Starting January the 10th and continuing every Tuesday. So be sure and sign up. What time? Check with the PAC. No, there will be no pole dancing. A new three-day Tybolt, I think I pronounced that right, art class for adults will be held January the 7th, 14th, and 28th. I don't know what it is. And I'll close with a regular reminder, check your columns for more detail. Change of hats, Entertainment Committee. This has been the most fun time for the Entertainment Committee. We've been very, very busy. We helped out with the members' Christmas social. It was such a big success. Again, very happy responses on Nextdoor Pecan, so we know we're doing something right. The food was absolutely delicious. The carolers were great, and the band, what can I say? There was a lot of dancing and camaraderie. Thanks go out to everyone who made this such a fun night. Aaron Reed, John Thomas, Chef Thomas, Daryl Davis and his band, and our marvelous staff. Thank you. Karaoke night has now become one of my favorite things to do. It is amazing to me how talented some of the singers are that live right here in Pecan. Whether it's in the Brazos or in the ballroom, the night is packed with singers and exuberant fans. If you would like to give it a try, please be sure and make your reservations well in advance because it does require reservations to get a table. This is a very popular entertainment venue. Thank you, Keith Casterlin. Be sure to make your reservations for New Year's Eve at the clubhouse. Aaron has promised you won't be disappointed. Mardi Gras on the Brazos 2017 is coming up. It's scheduled for Saturday, January the 28th. The theme for crew tables is movies. So get your friends and family together, pick a theme, and call the front desk to reserve your crew table. Mark your calendar for Valentine's Day at the club. Gentlemen, this is the perfect opportunity to take your special Valentine out for a wonderful evening. We do all the work, you get all the credit. Pecan will be bringing back the big game party. Y'all know what I'm talking about because I can't use the word. Big game party, wahoo. I just know that our team, and I can't use that word either, will be there. Okay, that's it. Check your columns. Please check your columns for more details.
Thank you, Brenda, for that very exhaustive report. We appreciate it and all your hard work. Any comments or questions?
I just wondered if the gun shooting problem at the range is becoming significant. Is it worth looking into security cameras down there?
We do have security cameras down there. They're now being relocated towards the area that is an issue, and we'll see what happens. Maybe if they know with this that we are watching, maybe it might make a difference.
We've also increased patrols in the area to try to find out who it is that's been shooting down there.
Do we know how many hits we're getting on the website that relates to the fitness and wellness center?
Yes, it is amazing, overwhelming. They ask the questions on there, I'm hoping, are answering a lot of the issues, but Jimmy says that it's continuing to grow. The interest is there.
Any other comments, questions? Thank you very much, Brenda. Joe Hartman and the Marina Committee.
Yes, tough act to follow. We did have our monthly meeting on the 13th. We talked about the dock, floating dock upgrade. The contractor that had won the bid is no longer working at Lake Granbury. So we're going back to the drawing board and Daniel's going to contact other contractors and see if they're interested in giving us a bid and or their plans for the amount that was approved prior. So I'm still hopeful that we'll have something by the spring boating season, but I'm not sure as I was a month ago. Long-range calendars or plan documents were given to the committee, excuse me, and we all have them to work on. And on our 10 January meeting, we're going to go down item for item so that the Marina Committee will get some significant data to the long-range planning so they can do their job. Repair of A and B dock decking is going to be ongoing over the next few months to make sure that we have a good solid structure. Some of the decking is a little bit old and kind of needs repair. One of the things at our next meeting, the Marina Committee is what will you dream, and this is, I'm putting dream on purpose, for what you want the marina to be. I want to get the ideas consolidated so that when we have asked the question of a design firm, we have some idea of what we are looking for as a group. Do we want to include the total marina area? Do we want just the clubhouse, i.e. the grill and store? That'll be determined by some of the different inputs that we receive. Mark your calendars on another date. After Brenda, though, I'm not sure on this. 29 April is Marina Day. We've already gotten commitment from one of the local boat dealers to display their boats, so we're going to have some stuff there. We're planning on having a swap shop where those of us that have a lot of fishing supplies that haven't been used for a bit can trade and barter with each other. And we're looking for ideas for activities for children. We want to make it a fun day for the family total. So if you have a thought, please give it to us so that we can run with it. John covered the deep fryer, so I won't go into that. That's a significant improvement for our menu possibilities. We have 3 boat slips available at this time if you are wanting to get one. If you wait till spring, you may not be able to get it. There'll be another waiting list. Our next scheduled meeting is 10 January. You're welcome to come join us. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. Comments, questions for the Marina Committee? If not, I know we had a very successful golf pro shop balloon sale. Bobby, what was the total amount of sales? Maybe you can give them a quick overview.
The balloon sale that was held on the 13th, we exceeded last year's balloon sale by $2,900. It was just under 20 grand in 3 hours. So it's a busy month for us. Normally we sell around $43,000 to $46,000 worth of merchandise in the month of December. Just a reminder, everybody needs to clear out their credit book before December 31st, or you don't get to spend it. So we've had a successful year. Of course, we've been down with the weather. We lost the last 2 weekends, so it's kind of hindering sales at this moment. Hopefully we keep our fingers crossed where we keep growing. Golf committee-wise, we approved the 2017 calendar. We are following through with the long-range plan of a new pavilion, still waiting on approval for the board to give us the property to put the pavilion between the putting green and the cart barn. So we have Jimmy Stewart, one of the architects that lives out here. He's doing some design work for us to get it to the board where y'all can see what we're up to. The funds that were raised in that event so far, they're at $15,000 that they raised without having to go before the board for any money. The golf community wants to raise those funds and not use club funds. Okay, so that's a big deal. Mike Brown's real big on that, to build that pavilion and not use PPOA funds to build it. Of course, we still need to go before finance, because there will be some operational cost as into cleaning it. They're also doing, a committee is put together to do a long-range plan of what they want the final project to look like, with a couple of bathrooms, refrigeration, place to cook, for any type of outside activities that want to be done. But mainly the concept plan is for our MG and LGA. Whenever we have major functions, events, we overtake the 19th hole, and then you lose your food service when we all overtake that area. So we want a big enough area that we can have everybody together, all 100, 120 players. Right now we don't have that ability with what we have. The 19th hole won't hold it. So that's what we've been doing with the golf committee.
Bobby, are you going to be able to quantify the operating and maintenance cost of this? If pavilion I'm talking about?
So we'll have some electrical costs, and then the cleaning, the blowing it out costs, and then the pressure washing it maybe once a week or after every big function. But besides that, that's about all the extensive labor that's going to go into it.
Any other comments, questions for Bobby? Thank you very much, Bobby. The horse owners, the stables are full again, so we're good to see that. And as far as communications, Mr. Carnes, would you like to mention the town hall meeting?
Yes, we met a couple of weeks ago getting ready for the town hall meeting January 5th at 6 o'clock. We're still open for questions to be sent to the PPOA box that's in the communications. So if people have questions they would like to ask at the town hall meeting, they can send those questions to the mailbox. We'll also open it up to the public that evening to take questions from the floor. And we hope the people will show up and ask the questions they're dying to ask.
Thank you, Mr. Carnes. Let's move on to food and beverage. Lou Turner.
This on? It's on. Okay, there we go. Food and Beverage Committee met on January 13th. We completed the survey. We had only 458 responses to the survey, which was somewhat disappointing. We have done some preliminary look at the results, and we're now working out the details, and hopefully we will have that information ready to be published in the columns for the February issue, and we'll also be ready to bring more information to the board and management sometime during the month of February. We're continuing to develop the preliminary concepts for renovation of the 19th hole, and our next meeting is on January the 10th. Thank you.
Comments, questions from Mr. Turner?
I'd just like to note that I know some committee members are anxious that this process of the 19th hole renovation or whatever is decided is moving slowly, but we're moving as fast as our policies and procedures allow us to go, and so we'll do the best we can in that process. And of course, we're trying to coordinate with the golf committee as well. So we're moving with all deliberate speed, but it takes a while to get it done right.
Thank you, Dr. Kamen. Let's move on to membership. Connie and Dennis.
Thank you, Michael. Our committee met on December 12th. We only have one meeting this month due to the holidays. We had 12 attendees. 11 of those have purchased existing homes, and we have one renter.
Thank you, Dennis. And I believe that concludes our committee reports for this month, unless somebody else has anything. Mr. Ward, back to you.
Thank you, Mr. Bartholomew. Any other questions from the board? All right, we'll declare the meeting adjourned. Merry Christmas, by the way, and Happy New Year to everyone. Thank you.